it's almost as if all your training prepared you for this moment, because you had stints in advertising, journalism, event management. So you were able to bring everything together to paint Mr. Rawlings almost in a way that people hadn't seen him before, because this is now a military ruler who is now going to be transitioning to a civilian leader.
Yeah.
How did you go about?
Well,
what do you decide you're going to show the people?
It wasn't difficult because he was very much a very strong personality, and he had this passion for his country, which also I had. But he had a bigger exposure in terms of dealing with the people of the country. All right. And I was a television producer, television director. And so my artistic eye, all right, coincided with that vision. So it wasn't difficult for me to actually put something together to portray him. All right. And with the lessons I've had in television imagery and things like that, I realized that I could do it without doing anything that was on the hand.
So what did you decide? What kind of image did you want to present the people of Ghana with that would speak to Mr. Rawlings' character or his essence?
Naturally, one, he was a gung-ho kind of person.
Action man.
Action man. And also, but he also cared. But that caring nature was not seen because he was covered by the fact, action man, he could do anything. But they didn't look at the humility. They didn't look at the kindness he had, the generosity he had. Because
they saw him as a 79, okay, cool maker.
Yeah, and the bluster covered the kindness that he had because he was a very humane person. All right. The fact that, and I say this advisedly, that certain people had been executed under his mandate, colored the thinking of a lot of people.
Yeah.
But I saw a certain humanity in him. It's very generous because we weren't that close to him to know how generous he was. But he was generous, very humane, and he elicited a certain warmth when you got close to him. If you're able to get beyond the bluster and go behind the scenes.
Yeah, because just looking at him from afar, he looked very intimidating. Eyebrows very boring into your soul.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
That's what I thought when I first met him. I said, this stern man. Then the sense of humor, because most of the time we were laughing. He told real jokes. And I was in comedy, so that aspect of it, bonded us together. Tell jokes. Come on, I've heard this one. And say, oh, have you heard this one? But that wasn't it. He also loved the country, and he also believed that this country should be working. All right. So everybody has his flaws and his faults, but I had a wonderful time being a friend of his and working with him.
Did he want to be a civilian leader?
He had his doubts about the kind of democracy that we wanted to practice. He didn't believe in multi-party democracy per se, because he thought it divided the nation. All right, he thought we should do something, bring everybody on board, and have more like a participatory democracy where people would not be left out.
Like a Unigov kind of thing?
Yeah, Unigov kind of thing, surprisingly. But we hadn't gone far in discussing that because it was what the people wanted that he accepted. Because when he sent D.F. Annan with the NCD to go and look at the kind of democracy we wanted, and then we had the
NCD's National Commission for Democracy.
Yes.
Okay.
And then we had the what was it called?
Consultative Assembly?
Yeah, Consultative Assembly and all that. He realized that this is what they wanted. And he didn't want to impose on the will of the people.
So kind of a reluctant Democrat, would you say?
He was a Democrat, but he wasn't. He was a reluctant Democrat when it came to the type of democracy that we had accepted, that he believed that it would give us problems.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, but then you became a media consultant for the president or for his government?
No,
how
I
did
was
it
a
work?
media consultant for myself.
Okay.
But I was doing pro bono work
Okay.
because I believed in his ideals and where we wanted to go. All right. When the political dispensation changed and went into the democratic dispensation, then I realized that I had to do some work for the NDC.
Okay.
So we worked.
Okay. So in '92, what was your role?
Oh, 92, I was a gopher going all around the country.
Tell us,
organized.
give us a sense of what you did.
In 1992, I worked very closely with Mrs. Rawlings
Okay.
to portray and promote the party. I helped in organizing the rallies and the congresses. I traveled the length and breadth. I also was responsible for the audiovisual imagery of the events and things like that.
So all the things we saw on TV, that was you?
Yes. Voiceovers and all that, getting people in, doing documentaries and things like that. I was very much in the thick and thin of it.
That was a lot of work.
It was a lot of work, but it was very enjoyable.
What were some of the things that surprised you in your work at that time in '92?
Oh, I got to see Ghana, and it was fascinating. All right, I mean the wonderful nature of this country was what I saw, and it surprised me. I was everywhere. I went to the Upper East, and then I saw the culture, and I realized that everywhere where there were cultural practices, they were relevant to the environment. You see, and it helped a lot in deepening my love for my country. And
so the NDC wins the election in '92.
Yes.
And then how does your role with respect to President Rawlings change?
It didn't change. I mean, naturally, if he wanted to discuss anything, he would call, and I would go and I'd sit with him. And I realized that he liked me around when there were certain meetings. All right.
What kinds of meetings?
Oh, I mean, if for example, if we had foreign dignitaries and important foreign personalities, when Stevie Wonder came, he knew I liked music and I liked Stevie Wonder. I said, "Oh, be around."
Okay.
All right. When Isaac Hayes and Dionne Warwick came, they had a concert at the conference center. I was the MC, and I also did a film on them. And then we entertained them on the Dodi Princess, and I was, the four organizing and putting all those events together.
What kind of music did President Rawlings like?
Oh, he loved soul music, and he liked. Another guy he liked was Elvis Presley.
Really?
Yeah,
the king of rock and roll.
Rock and roll. He liked Elvis Presley a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But he liked soul music. He liked all kinds of music. He liked the cultural music. You'd see him dancing to the Agbaja sometimes. I mean, that. He was very much an eclectic person when it came down to that kind of thing. Yeah.
And did you guys ever argue?
Well, yes. That's where the sternness could come in. If you did anything he thought was untoward, he had a way of dismissing you. But it didn't last. It didn't last. So, we would argue the difference of opinion. And so you'll have to go and stay away for a while and then come back. And you embrace each other, and that's it.